And welcome back, folks, to episode 2, season 2. I'm sticking with that. Fuck episode 54. Plus, we're out of numbers and letters because somebody had to write a serial killer letter or something, so they used the letters to do one of the newspapery things. Didn't even ask for money. So
stupid because they used black paper too, but
right, it was just a black note, and they're like, "Fuck that kid, this guy's dumb. We'll find him anyway." But yeah, season 2, episode 2. If you're not familiar with the show, dudes in our 30s. We got the fully married guy living the wonder life. We got the single guy perpetually, and we got the 2 times divorced champion. And we just talk about life, talk about funny shit. Disclaimer just for fun. If you don't like fart jokes, if you don't like super disgusting stuff, fucking hit the bricks, because that's a lot of what we talk about. It's gross comedy, and we enjoy it.
Pussy, tits, and boobs, big dicks.
Yeah, we're gonna eventually right here have a television playing perpetually with the worst pornography you've ever seen. That'll just be like, it'll be our way to sneak pornography onto YouTube, right? Because we didn't get shut down for the jokes last week. We didn't get shut down.
Nothing came from that. In the background. I wonder if that's why the views were a little lower. I don't know for sure, though. I don't think so.
No, because they would have to know. They would have to know that the jokes were
they would have to know they were
not good or whatever. Like awesome in our world. But yeah, we have fun with it, and that's kind of what we do. What's fucking going on this week, Mr. Sean? What's your life looking like?
Pretty fucking boring.
Yeah?
Honestly, I wish there was more.
Yeah. It's kind of been that way. I get it. You know, hasn't been like the government trying to ruin our day too much. No, I haven't had time to complain about my week because I've just been working. And my new job, no phone. Dude, I'm telling you, if you can do it, fucking leave your phone right wherever the fuck it is at home and only touch it when you get home from work, because I've been more clear-headed, probably because I quit the pots, but like, than I've ever been.
This is the first fully clean Bryce I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like ever. For whatever
I got
reason.
Like chew pouches. That's it.
Yeah, but that's nothing compared to...
Yeah, I know. Like it's weird being like super sharp. But usually when I get super sharp, I get super nervous and super weirded out because other shit's going on in my life. Everything's good. Like... My life is good right now.
You don't have anything negative to focus on, so anything that is positive, you look for something negative in it.
Yeah.
So your brain is just digging through
But
everything.
even right now, it's just all positive. I got done with my fucking weird dreams thing. Like, I did have another weird one where my ex-wife's best friend in the whole wide world was, like, driving me around and, like, showing me things. Like... It was, like when somebody's hinting at something when it's really bad news, like they're kind of doing the sideways look at you, like, and you're like, what the fuck's going on? They're just waiting for you to say that part so that they can be like, okay, this happened or whatever. So it was a whole dream of that, and it wasn't like we never. It was not a sexual dream. It wasn't even like we were together. It was like being like, what's that fucking Christmas movie where the ghost of Christmas past like take you around?
Christmas Carol or whatever.
Yeah, whatever that one is. I always think of the Scrooge McDuck one. I never think of the real one. But it was like that kind of dream where I wasn't catching the hint. Like, and there was like party scenes, and then we went to a store, and then we went to somebody's apartment, and then we were just alone, and then she never told me the thing. Like whatever, I never knew, I never could catch what the thing was that she was hinting at, or didn't want to tell me, or like was ramping up to tell me, you know? Did I talk about the dad and me robbing the bank story?
No.
Okay, so I had a dream where me and my dad like break into this place, and he's as old as he is now. So if you guys don't know, my dad is 78 years old. I was an accident. Anyway, and so in my dream, somehow I go over a fence, and I figure out how to get him through the fence or whatever, because there's no him going. There's no him going over the fucking fence, right?
Jesus Christ, why'd I bring you?
Right. That was the whole fucking dream. Like, where it's like, if I was just by myself, this place would be robbed and I'd be home with a pile of fucking money or whatever. And the whole time he's like, partway through the dream, he reaches out to pick a fight with one of the security guards because they're being lazy and sitting on their chair. And I'm like, motherfucker, could you make it any harder for me? You know, of course that, like, my interpretation was like, I've had a harder life with my dad. Like, not that it's been a hard life. He's always been a good dad, but it's always been a little bit different.
Yeah.
I mean, he's always been an old dad. Like, we've never wrestled. Even though my family's way into he was never young enough and me old enough to, like, wrestle around or go get a beer together. Like, I would be terrified to take him in public with, like, you know, he's old, he's racist. You know, he's going to say something to somebody thinking, like, oh, we used to chase them queers out of the bar type of thing. You know, he doesn't talk like that. But, right, your dad, and your dad's still fucking yoked up enough. He would just choke somebody if they fucking pissed him off. And my dad's finally old. Like, he's actually
I
old.
remember times when I would be over at your house and you and your dad would, like, hug each other and there would be, like, a little wrestling around. But it was never, like, a full-on wrestling.
I never could just, like, suplex him or something.
Yeah, no.
You know?
I was always kind of scared of your dad a little bit.
Oh, he always saved one. He always told me, he's like, I got one good one left. I could fucking
That's what my dad's
kill
been
somebody
saying
with
lately.
it, you know? Yeah, I got one good one left. I watched him do it one time, too, and he was totally fine. I wasn't even worried. Because, have I told that story either?
I don't remember if you
So
ever
one
not.
time we were in his old Honda, and he pulled up behind this Geo Metro right by the tennis courts. And he's, like, right on the guy's bumper, and the guy, like, wouldn't go or whatever, but it had been, like, 1/4 of a second since, like, we even pulled up to him. I'm like, okay, chill out. He's like, he's got fucking time.
So now this
He
is where
can go.
you get all your rage from. Because
Yeah,
you'll pull up
yeah.
and you'll be like,
Yeah,
you can time out the road for the person ahead of you.
yeah.
And you're like, why the fuck aren't you going?
Right.
Should have gone.
Right, because
And by the time you get there, everybody wants to just go at, like, perfect timing to where you can't get out. I get it.
Yeah,
Okay.
and I hate him.
Sorry, I
So
didn't mean to interrupt you.
it's okay. So he's like honking his horn, and he's like, "Get the fuck out of the road, dummy!" And so the guy's like, "Fuck you," you know. And it was like a big hand. I'm like, "Oh, that's not good." And so the guy like pulls out. My dad, of course, changes the direction we were going to be behind the guy. I'm like, "We were going that way. Why are we doing this? This is so dumb." And he like gets right on the guy's bumper. And he's like honking. I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous, Dad. And he's like, I'm gonna fuck kill this guy. So the guy pulls over. Dad pulls over right behind him. And like before the guy's done climbing out of the car, my dad's already out of the car. But the guy kept fucking climbing out of the car. And I'm like, oh no, I gotta go beat some big farm kid up or something. Or just a massive person. And he starts walking towards my dad, and my dad's like, you better get in your fucking car, hippie. And I'm like, he looks like Superman. What are you doing? And he fucking hit that guy so goddamn hard, dude. I swear he almost made the guy do a backflip. And I was like, and the guy was just like doing the wobble and was already on a knee trying to get up. And my dad fucking grabbed him by the hair, and I'm like, whoa! And I like grabbed his arm. I was like, you're gonna go to fucking prison if you hit him again. He'll die. And the guy's like, I'm sorry. And my dad's like, that's what I fucking thought. And he's like already into Velcro shoes. Like he was into his phase where he'll take khakis pants and use black thread to hem the bottom because you can't just go buy a fitting pair of pants. You have to buy them up at Goodwill and then hem them to fit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, those are already 50 years old, Dad. And this was like 15 years ago.
That's when they made good
he
pants.
He still has
son.
those pants. He still has them. And every time he'll be like, oh, I can't put my keys in that pocket. They'll fall out. I'm like, go buy some pants, Dad. You got like a fucking $250,000 in the bank. Just fucking go get some fucking pants.
I was like my dad. He told me when his dad, my grandpa used to tell him, anytime you think you're big enough and bad enough, you come let me know. And my dad had just gotten back from military training, like all that stuff, like jungle survival training, everything like that. Gets back to the house, sits down, just comes back from all the training, everything like that, sits down at dinner. My grandma gets up to go get dessert and everything like that. My grandpa goes, we'll be right back in, Eleanor. They go outside. My dad, he's sitting there and he goes, I'm today, Dad, I'm big enough and I'm bad enough. They went outside and my dad goes, I remember waking up 2 hours later. The table was clear and everything like that. He goes, I guess my dad went back inside and Richard's not going to be coming in for dessert, Eleanor. He had to sleep something off.
Doesn't even remember what happened.
So even at that point, like I'd never gotten physically in my dad's face. I'd never done anything, but I was always, and I've never seen him in a fight ever.
Oh, really?
No.
Yeah, he was cool cucumber, though. I mean, he was ready to rock and roll, but he was that kind of cool.
He was the guy, so again, all through high school, he would tell me, stories about him being like the littlest kid in school. And like having to he goes, I remember going in a brand new high school in California because they just moved down there, and he was like, so first thing they tell you to do is find the biggest, baddest motherfucker in there and you take him out, hands down, just square one,
Just like prison.
Dude, I was just thinking, kids in the 50s or 60s in
So
California
much
are the same as prisons now.
Yeah. I mean,
Check this out. Here's something I found out today. They I guess like 5 years ago they changed the law that if you like put hands on somebody in PC, like protective custody, like a child molester or somebody that's done terrible fucking crimes, you can get up to 5 years on your sentence just for like them. Like you can get in fights in prison, but apparently it's like a specific law. Why are they so? Yeah, why are they so fucking hell bent on protecting them? Like, why? This seems like win-win.
Well, because
to
they
me.
know that everybody's going to go after him, and I'm not saying that
Right.
that's a bad thing.
Right, exactly.
I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but
No, they should be sodomized every day.
Didn't you know that used to be the deterrent to going to prison? Yeah. And now there's people that are like, oh, I have no kids. I can use 3 meals a day, and then they go to prison. Yeah. And anyway, California school.
So yeah, he walks in, finds the biggest dude, and doesn't even touch the kid. Just walks up to him and he goes, "You and me after school, fucking here." And he just starts pushing the guy, picking at him, and the kid was like, "Fuck's your problem? You got a death wish or some shit?" And my dad's like, "Just fucking be here." Starts pushing him around. Comes back after school, right to that same spot. The person that was next to the kid's locker had their locker open, and my dad just grabs the locker and he starts bashing himself in the fucking head with it. Just time and time again until he just starts just a little crackle of blood or whatever. Kid's like, "I'm not fucking with you, dude. You're fucking crazy." And just walks off. Just out of the way. It was also the same school that he, I think at the toilet paper story, he goes into the bathroom and he'd never been kicked in the balls before, ever in his life. Because everywhere else you fought, it was with fists up here. So he gets down there and the kids are like, he goes to the bathroom, whatever, these 2 or 3 kids come into the bathroom and starts fucking with him and shit like that. And he's like, "I want you to write an essay on toilet paper." And I was like, "What?" And they're like, "You're going to write me an essay on toilet paper." And I was like, "Fuck, I am." "No, I'm not." And they're like, "Yeah, you are." And they kick the shit out of him or whatever. And they throw the toilet paper on the ground and "You're going to write it on this." So my dad got expelled. All the kids got expelled for fighting that day. So when my dad's out, my grandpa takes him to a San Francisco Giants game. A souvenir bat day. So those little tiny bats, right? So my dad, while he's on suspension, cuts the tip of the bat off, drills the center of it out, and puts every fishing weight they have in this bat. Caps it off, drills a hole in the handle, puts a leather strap in it, and goes back to school. Catches 2 of the 3 kids in the same bathroom, lays them both out, and gets suspended every single time he does it. Never did catch the 3rd kid, I guess. But just fucking laid them out at both of them.
Well, even just those little NAI bats by themselves will fuck you up,
Oh, yeah.
dude.
Oh, yeah.
Been there, done that. But to have it all filled, oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
I hate getting hit in the head with shit like that. That'll, take the fucking gumption right out of you. I can get punched in the face all fucking day and get beat up. That little ding, that's too heavy. It's like hitting your head on a fucking countertop or something, or, a cupboard door. It's like, fuck, kill me now.
I did it at work. I don't remember what day that
Oh,
was.
remember.
We have you know what a U-boat is.
Yeah.
So we've got those at work, and I was getting something off the bottom, and somebody was like, "Excuse me," and I was like, and just fucking wallop the back of my head on the top rack.
So you guys have the ones with the shelves on it?
Yeah, the graded.
See, we've got new ones
Are you
like that.
motherfuckers trying to tell me I don't know what a U-boat is? Motherfucker, I stormed the beaches in Normandy, motherfucker. I know what a U-boat is.
My dad's 78 years old. I went on one
And if
before.
you guys start talking about fucking U-boats at work and whether they have shelves or not, I'm fucking out of here. So I'm cutting that off right now. What funny things can we talk about? You know how many times I want to do that during an episode? Just be like, are they fucking talking about work? These people are listening to us to distract from that piece of shit
Well,
job.
there's the funny shit that happens at work, though.
There
Like
is,
me
but
hitting my
U-boat
head.
shelves are not it.
When you crack your head on it, it's funny.
That's super funny.
And when the old dude behind you that was like, "Excuse me," when I'm like, "Clang," and I'm like, "Shit," and the guy was like, "You all right?" And he's laughing. I'm like, "Yeah,
I know your bell's wrong, but hey, where's this very specific piece of hardware?
Yeah.
You're like, fucking go, dude. The taffy's in the front. Leave.
Go out to Bitterroot.
Go out to Bitterroot. That ain't my fucking problem no more.
You have no idea how many people. I'm like, oh, is that a Toyota? Bitterroot.
You know what we do?
I'm not going to help
in,
you sort through
they'll
the
ask,
fucking metrics.
It's so funny how they'll ask somebody, like, what's this for? And they'll be like, oh, it comes off of my car. And immediately they'll be like, we don't sell car hardware here. Like, if it's like 4 bolts. Bolts are bolts, dude. They all go on cars. They all go on whatever. But yeah, they'd always just be like, we don't sell car. We had a product line called Avico, automotive vehicle company. Whole wall. Wall.
We don't sell that.
We don't sell that shit. So, hey, if you're a customer that's ever been gilded by fucking Bitterroot, I don't work there no more. Go ask for 1 fender bolt. Go ask for 1 bumper bolt. Go ask for 1 clip bolt. Make their fucking day.
Hey, do you guys have any of those, like, plastic?
Nope.
They hold your fender on. Jesus. I'm like,
I know where they are. But what'd you do?
Oh, it was something about computer restart, something bullshit. It's not right now. Don't worry.
Critical error.
No.
So
it's not going to shut us off.
So the virus took effect. I sent from my
Coronavirus
phone.
got it.
It's the digital coronavirus.
Digital coronavirus.
Sorry, folks. We got to quarantine.
Yeah.
We're going to be stuck
The
here for 2
computer
weeks.
In
without
the garage.
Its only cure is it's not recording, but we have to act like a podcast is going on for it to get better. I'm like,
So in other words, just hang out for 2 weeks.
yeah.
Hey, you know what? I was watching a documentary, and it was some of the Jackass guys. Did you know at one point in time in a hotel room, what is his name? Long-haired guy. He's got the really crazy laugh.
Chris Pontius?
Yes.
Yeah.
He actually put Bam Margera's pee-pee in his mouth. Did you know
Really?
that? Yeah.
Like what's funny is everything's a Jackass stunt, so they everything's based off being a jackass, right?
Yeah.
But then what if one of them had just decided he wanted to fuck the rest of them, and he's just like, hey dude, we should do this stunt where you're all bent over, and I put stuff in your butt like my wiener.
And blindfold you.
And then he just sticks with Bam or whatever.
Guess the pee-pee.
Come here, weenie.
Yeah, just trying to make it, this is a fucking gay porno now.
Who goes,
Some of that shit.
This is Bam Margera and this is Dick in a Butt.
Hi, I'm Johnny Knoxville. This is Dude's Coming. Oh, man. There's a show that's never going to be repeated. It's only going to have parodies,
though.
you know?
Yeah.
You seen Johnny Knoxville? He's all gray now and old and shit. He's starting to look like the old guy now.
Yeah.
It's like,
He still just got the feathered flat top though.
Last time I seen him, his hair was not buzzed, but it was just short, regular fucking hair. I'm like, that guy doesn't even look right now. That was one of my ex's all-time crushes, and I'm like, are you serious? That guy's a fucking idiot. But I mean, he's cool, but he's an idiot. They're all idiots. They're all lucky to be alive, and
rich as fuck for me.
Thank you for having done that for us, type of thing. Because I'm not gonna do it. I would like to do the rocket. The rocket off the dock into the water, the one that
I went immediately to putting a firework in your butt, dude.
No, that was fucking funny, but no. The beer chug, well, I mean, I don't drink anymore, and I heard that really fucks you up when you take alcohol in the old butt.
Because it bypasses.
I like how he was
ER.
Yeah.
Well, it bypasses everything that it has to go through.
Yeah, it's just absorbed right into you.
That's like people that do...
I couldn't imagine being drunk anymore. I used to be half drunk every day, and the thought of it makes me, sick to my stomach. It's weird.
You know, people get that, the THC...
salves and shit.
The stuff that...
creams?
The cream.
CBD.
No, yeah, but the actual shit, the
oil.
That'll get you high, the oils. Right. And then they put it, put it up in their butthole.
No, keister it? Mm-hmm. That's what that's called.
And then get high.
Keistering.
Keistering, yeah, and they get...
That's such a fucking cool word, because it's so descriptive. You know exactly what it is. It's the verb of butt.
Yeah.
So it's keistering. So it's very obvious what you're doing.
Yeah.
And also, here's a little hint. If you ever say the word keystring in front of a new date and they don't know what you're talking about, move along. Move along, because they're not for you.
They're not for you.
They're not for you.
They don't do that.
Like that lady up there on that fucking hood, she's a keystringer.
Oh, yeah.
Fuck, I'd marry that girl. I fucking would.
You know she's sitting on a spark plug right now.
Oh, fuck.
For those of you that can't see it, it's like a 1950s
Pin-up girl, and she's
pin-up
working on
girl.
a car and her garter belt and thigh. Girls with legs like that, fuck, oh dear.
Yep.
Hoofda. Anyhow. Still 15, but get distracted by a cartoon picture.
We were talking about the fucking porn that surfaced around
Oh,
everywhere.
dude,
when we were like
Wolfman.
14 or 15 anyway.
Yeah.
So this is like a
I know we've
Sean
discussed this
story. We've
before.
talked about it, and we've talked about Wolfman, like our experience with like 15 people in the basement watching Wolfman with girls in high school, and they seemed into it. That's so weird. Like usually chicks are like, ew, grouse,
Well, it's
you know,
probably the
especially
first
when you're like
time
15.
Some of them have probably seen something like that.
That's
too.
true.
And we
and
hung
since it
out
was
with-
funny, we hung out with pretty cool chicks. Like
Yeah,
they could hang,
yeah.
they could deal with it.
Yeah.
But here's something we need your fucking help with. 3 or 4 of you out there that are still watching the show. We need to find Wolfman. Now, the thing is about this porno is it's actually a compilation video that had Ron Jeremy, it had John Holmes in it, and then it had a cutaway scene of a man wearing a wolf mask, peeing in corners, humping chicks like he was a dog.
It
and
was
if
a girl dressed as Little Red Riding Hood.
Oh,
like
it
a-
was? I don't
like
Well,
remember.
I thought it
that.
was. I
Yeah.
thought it was like a girl that was. She went out of town because there was something going on in the city that she had to get away from. She was like on a vacation, but then on the radio came up about a man or a creature terrorizing
That is
the
what
area.
it was.
Yeah, because she
And
never had
It's
clothes.
in a cabin.
If there's anything I know, it's plots to movies, and this
Yeah.
is definitely a plot to a
And it
movie
was
you
in a
can remember.
cabin.
She was in a cabin, and as she's on the phone with her girlfriend, she's talking to.
You remember
see
that
him-
much plot?
Oh, yeah.
I don't ever
Now
remember
I'm
anything
starting to
but the
remember
guy
it now
like...
that
He's in the
talking.
corner. He's
Yeah.
outside the window, like going through.
Yeah.
That's
And he
right.
like comes in, but you don't see him come in the door. He just enters into the room, and she freaks out, and he's like, she's getting naked as he's watching her through the window, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh my god!" Like he's getting all excited. So then
yeah,
he comes
yeah,
into the room
yeah.
and he starts like touching himself, and she's like, "You like that?" She like starts getting more naked.
Like
Then
she's
they start-
scared, but
yeah.
like just doing what he wants. Like, yeah,
Then they
you
start
know, I
fucking,
don't
and
remember.
once he starts hitting it from behind, like he's doing everything else like normal sex, but once he starts hitting it from behind, he like has to stop in a minute. He's like taps her on the shoulder, and he's like, 1 second. He like goes over to the corner of the bed, lifts his leg to pee, turns around and kicks the bed like he's covering it
That's
up.
right.
Goes back in doggy style, and then he switches up before he comes on her.
And that's what
Yeah.
I remember that part because now I think in my mind there was a director that was like, all right, here's the scene now. Go to the end of the bed and pretend you're peeing. Kick like a dog. Jesus, man, make it look like there was a director we didn't
I
hear.
wonder how many takes that took to like.
Oh,
hey,
dude.
Okay, there we go.
Well, and that, right, because that's the thing in like porno. Like everybody wants to be a porn star. If you've ever worked in porno, it is not fucking fun. It is not a fun job. It is not
it's
you
not.
just fucking chicks. Because like, no offense to everybody that's normal, but your average sex experience is like, besides Sean with his massive, huge, unsensitive 3-hour penis, it's like 7 to 12 minutes is all the average sex is. Like actually being in there and doing anything. You could be on set for hours. And you got to keep getting hard. You got to keep replaying scenes. And at that point, if you've been banging that many just gorgeous, beautiful, hot chicks with your big giant hog, that fucker couldn't feel nothing with a hammer. So you're just like,
I've had sex and kind of gets like a numb feeling to it. Have you had that happen?
sort of. So
Or you get that have you ever chafed it?
no, not with. I've done like as a kid. I've done fucking
No,
beaten
no.
off. You get all kinds of chafing, but
No, I've chafed it.
fucking You know you're supposed to get them wet before you start playing with them, right?
Well, when you take a long time sometimes, and then it's like
You gotta switch up the positions, or go back down and fucking get
you
you a
only do that
mouthful.
some, then your
you
mouth
know?
goes dry, and then
That's not true, dude.
this happened to me.
You gotta
one time
drink a
camping.
Gatorade or something. You can get
It's
back
not
to
the
it.
Gatorade that I left behind my bed that time.
Yeah. Why is it gotta be gross? We're talking about sensual, lovely, wet lady
We're
parts.
talking about
and Jim's like, hey,
love.
we're talking about love, man.
We're not talking about, like, we're not... fucking,
I know, yeah.
We're not talking about Dirty Sanchez. We're not talking about Rusty Combo. We're talking about love.
So the
We're
other thing
talking
from
about people.
The other thing from that compilation was the Ron Jeremy scene that I remember vividly.
Oh, God.
Where
when
it's
his
like
dick
the-
flops from the...
Yeah.
Hits the camera.
Yeah. Well, that or you're having to watch Ron Jeremy in his 40s or 30s or whatever gross state he was in, and his belly was all hairy and like he's got like a big old hog, and still you're like, like
Well, that and
it
then I was
still
watching,
was like covering part of it.
Well, then I was watching Zack and Ray make a porno the other day, and I forgot how great that fucking movie is.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen it?
It's pretty funny.
So it's Seth Rogen and Elizabeth Banks and their roommates, and everything in their house gets shut off. Water, power, everything. So they've got like an oil drum that they're starting a fire in. They're sitting around. They're like, what's the quickest way to make money? We should make a porno. So they like cast everybody in this movie, and they start shooting, and then the power goes out in their house. And then they're like, they've got nowhere to shoot. So they decide they work at a Starbucks like coffee shop. And they decide he's like looking up, and he sees the security camera, and he's like doing like this to all like the little couches in the corner and the chairs and everything like that. Like goes back to the counter. He's like, let's fucking shoot a porno here. So like after they close down at the end of the night, they hang curtains and blankets and shit all over the big windows in the front. And it's got Jason Mewes.
Oh Jesus!
And like Craig Robinson's in it. He plays like the guy that funds all the money and shit like that. There's a handful of people that are in it. But there's a scene where it's even got not Dante but the other guy.
Yeah.
So he's in it, and he's the film guy. So there's a scene where this chick, she's like, they're going to do an anal scene. And she's like, God, I'm so backed up, but I can't stop drinking coffee. And she's like, but it's good for it. And he's like, we're doing anal today, right? And she's like, oh yeah, I'm excited for it. And so like the guy's under,
God damn it.
he's under the camera shooting it. And he's like, don't fucking forget I'm down here, guys. And so something happens in the back where Seth Rogen's character gets pissed and he like fucking leaves. And as soon as he does, like he just throws the door open in the middle of this sex scene, and anybody outside can see it. And like as soon as he pushes the door open, the guy like pulls out and like turns around, and you just see this on his face in the camera.
Jesus.
And he comes running out, and he's like, "What the fuck happened?" And he's like, he's fucking leaving. He goes, I don't give a shit about that. That bitch just puddinged on my face.
That's so gross.
It's so bad. But that's what reminded me of the camera slapping.
Yeah.
And I was like, ew, that's pretty. Ew.
Well, yeah, they had, back then, that's why it was on a compilation video. It was all the throwaway takes, you know? Like John Holmes, like, after AIDS, so he's all skinny and sad and has to take breaks in the corner because he's all just tired. I seen a fucking ad. So, like, okay, we've talked about modern times. Like, oh, we're in the future now. They have a fucking medicine that they're talking about on commercials now. It pops up on, like, my YouTube as the in-between commercial, which terrifies me. But it's like, it's an AIDS medication that is not only just like the old medication was, the T-cell medicine or whatever, it makes it undetectable. Not on purpose, not meaning like, oh, I'm hiding it. Meaning that's how low the level of it in your body to where you almost can't like pass it on to somebody else. Like it shows the guy doing jiu-jitsu with another guy and getting dinged and being like, oh, it's no big deal. And he goes and cleans it up or whatever. And like, I don't know, that's fucking crazy to me, shit like that. Like, I always have talked about a day where it's like you find out, you get a letter in the mail and it's for your doctor. He's like, you have AIDS or whatever. And you're just like, dang it, I got to go to the pharmacy. And you like pick up cold medicine and get rid of your AIDS. Like when we get to that, like there's two things in me. It's like those things will become diseases like that where we're like, oh, you just got a cold, and people will be a lot less picky. Like if everything's cured, then you're just fucking gross chicks. Not that that's just what you would do. What I mean, it's not like there's been chicks that are hot, but they're like skanky, and you're like, Is this the one that's gonna,
To end it for me?
Yeah, is my career fucking over, or whatever? Because that is how I would feel about it. Like, I don't mind fucking around my whole life, but then if I, like, catch something, I don't want to go give it to somebody else. Yeah. I'd just be like, well, I guess I'm into basket weaving now
shit.
or whatever.
Well, shit, AIDS, if you get caught doing that shit, you don't trust me, that's attempted murder.
Yeah, I remember when we were
Something
just
like
out
that?
of high school, there was this, well, it doesn't matter what color he is, I was just going to tell a story. But anyway, there was this guy in like the Spokane or Coeur d'Alene area that got charged with 14 counts of something akin to that.
I remember that.
And
Because he was just going around banging people.
he was
and
just
not
going
telling
around
them.
banging
Yeah.
chicks, and then like they all found out, and somehow they had like, probably because they're all on the same dating website. Think about it, folks. And then like they all somehow were like, this guy gave me AIDS, this guy gave me AIDS, this guy gave me, and it was like 14 chicks or some shit like that all together. And so the guy like ended up having to go to prison and not get like zero treatment pretty much for his AIDS. So
you see commercials like that on your YouTube. I saw one today about a medicine that makes your balls bigger.
I heard
Your
about
balls
that.
bigger?
So here's something that confuses the fuck out of me. Unless you have little, teeny tiny, oddly weird balls, why would you want to have anything be bigger in any area around your cock? Like, I like how my stuff is presented to me as it is, right?
Oh, yeah.
So if I had like big nuts pushing it up and forward, making it look smaller, I'd be like, oh, that's weird.
I don't think I'd want anything bigger in that area. I mean, sometimes already it's like, Jesus Christ, it's stuck to my fucking leg. You know what I mean? You don't want something bigger than that.
Another jolly green penis joke.
No, that's not.
It's so big, it's stuck behind my knee, and I sat upon it. Fucking. One of these days, I hope. You know what I'm hoping for is that we're gonna be telling a big Sean Wiener joke, right? And
Yeah.
Sarah's gonna be like putting the garbage away or something, and you're gonna hear the as the garage door comes. She's gonna come in, sit down, and be like, "I'm gonna just let y'all know, it's not.
It's not.
It's not even average." If you
Times
folded
it's green, but
if
it's
you
not
folded the
jolly or
foreskin
green.
over and pushed it in, it would be flat. And I'd be like, folks, this is the best episode ever. That's it. We're done. This is the fucking end of the podcast.
Sean has
'cause
two innies.
He's got an eeny belly button and an eeny pee-pee.
Tell me you've never done that.
What, where you roll your dick into your foreskin? Yeah.
I don't have foreskin, but
Well, everybody has some. Even when you get circumcised, you have some.
well, yeah.
Otherwise,
I don't know, man.
Otherwise, does
It's
it just
like
stretch all hard and get super pointy and then just pops? Like, you gotta have enough extra. How much extra you got? Give it a fucking here.
Let's take care of that.
Let's see. So the first 5 inches are that.
No, I
The
mean,
second
like, isn't
7
it
inches.
crazy?
Yeah,
though?
I got like.
Isn't it crazy?
That's not my
though,
wiener.
like-
That's just all foreskin.
I almost feel like I need to be careful what I say for some reason. Because my aunt was like, oh shit.
What the fuck?
And the bikes are just moving. It's fine.
What? Just out of nowhere on their own?
Maybe somebody went through the back gate's the only thing I can think of.
Oh, you're fucked, dude. Sarah's gonna tell us all about your little pee-pee.
So my aunt, Patty, she's like, oh, are you guys, when do you guys film? And I was like, oh, that's Thursday. She was over here earlier this week. And she's like, oh, okay. She's like, Bryce says the F word quite a bit. And I was like, wait a minute. I was like, you watch? And she's like, yeah. And I was like, no, you don't. But she watches. I was like, oh my God.
Well, you guys say too, don't you? Or am I the only
Oh
one
yeah,
that
no,
cusses?
we say fuck. We say fuck
Okay.
all the
Oh,
time.
we do it, yeah.
Okay,
But
cool.
You usually started off like maybe 2 to 3 minutes into the episode. But what's nice is I've heard that it takes within the 30 seconds of like the episode for YouTube or whatever.
Oh, that's
There's-
that warning you were telling me about.
So it has to be within like 30 seconds
Fuck.
after something like that of the video, or it'll get flagged.
Why does a word matter? Like, I can insinuate, okay, I'm going to use only proper words. What happens, boys? Have either one of you ever folded your penis in half and jammed it in a woman's rectum? Like, that's way more descriptive than if I'm like, yeah, I ass fuck this chick. You know what I mean? It all means the same thing. Who cares what the word is? That's so dumb. Have you folded a flaccid penis in half and jammed it in somebody's rectum all the way to your scrotum and then reached back past your anus and tickled your duodenum or whatever the fuck the space is legally called between your asshole and your balls? You know what I mean? Like, come on now. Like, it's so fucking dumb.
That whole folding your
Die.
dick,
I can't even fucking breathe.
that whole folding your dick thing reminds me of that. There's an episode of It was. I forget the name of it. It's Hank Azaria plays the baseball announcer. I think I told you about this.
Yeah.
So there's an episode where he's been big into drugs, big into alcohol, and he gets clean. And it's the first relationship he's ever been clean in.
Oh.
And he can't get hard for some reason. Like, he just can't have sex with this chick. And he's like, you're attractive. I find you fucking amazingly sexy, but I just can't get an erection right now. And so he was like, I wonder. He's like, I'm going to try something. She goes, okay. And they're like laying in bed. He's like on top of her. He's like, I'm going to fold my penis in half. And I'm going to slide it in you, and the wetness of your vagina is going to absorb it like a sponge. And it'll get bigger. And she's just like, okay. And you see his arm go under the blanket, and then it cuts to commercial. But the whole episode is about, he's talking to the guy that he's replacing for an announce team, has cancer and he dies. And so he's like explaining this story to this guy, but you don't realize he's explaining it to his ashes in the urn at the end, to the end of the episode. And he's like, so finally, it got to a point where I was just, I let everything go. I was ready, and I was due. I was due for a good one, for a homer, for a dinger. And he's like, I was sitting in the car, and she was blowing me, and I just lost it, and it went everywhere, all over the dashboard, everything like that. And so, like, at the end, he's like talking to the urn, and he like pours it in the chalk liner.
Yeah.
And he like pours it in, and like a gust of wind comes up and gets him in the face. He's like, he starts pushing the thing. He's like, that was probably your dick, wasn't it? Son of a bitch. But he's got that announce voice on the entire time.
Right.
Anything he says, it's that announce voice.
There's some people that just have that golden voice.
Dude,
It's just, whoo.
It's such a good fucking show.
And there's some people that you don't even realize are shit announcers. Like, not necessarily shit announcers, but they're just regular dudes.
Yeah.
Like, Joe Rogan is just a regular dude that has a bunch of knowledge about fighting, but he doesn't have, like, an announcer voice. We just recognize it as the voice of the UFC, so you never thought about it. But Michael Goldberg, or whatever that dude's name was, the voice of the UFC.
Right.
He had that, you know... Tonight, we'll find out if Randy Couture or Chuck Liddell are going to walk away with the UFC Light Heavyweight Championship.
Right.
Back to you, Katie. And she's like, hi. And she's like looking at Chuck Liddell's dick because she's this tall, you know. She's like, I don't know anything about fighting. Explain your whole life and tonight and what's happening. And he's like, I got to go train. And then they cut back away. And they're like, thanks, Katie.
I think Rogan's thing was he just got so excited about it when something
Right,
happened.
he did. And he
Like,
could describe it in the
could-
moment
yeah.
way better than other guys.
He
Because
can call it when the punch is coming. He's like, he should be doing this right now. That's exactly the next thing
Right.
the guy does.
Yep.
yeah, it's interesting. His fight IQ is through the roof.
Right.
Like, he knows so much about positioning and what's next. And he's watched, he's announced at least 10 fights per event for at least 250 events.
Yeah.
So that's how many times he's watched men fight each other. I mean, he's watched some people's entire careers from their very first UFC fight to championships to retirement, you know.
When I was getting my head shaved, Frankie had on Rogan with GSP. They were talking.
I watched a little clip about it. The little Instagram tell me about your thing.
It was interesting. The only thing I didn't, sitting there getting my haircut, you try to watch something, and the audio and the video weren't lined up, so it kept fucking with me.
Oh, weird.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate
Yeah, that's
that.
annoying.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Our show's done that a couple times, and I
Yeah.
don't watch it.
No. It's
I
one
mean,
of
I
those-
don't really like watching our show anyway. We're not very good, but like,
The visual. I'd rather
Nobody.
just listen to it anyway.
both are just like, yeah, it is pretty shitty.
We
That
do
was-
our best.
That was a joke. But anyway, yeah, no. But the ones that there's some episodes I have yet to hear any of it because as soon as we switched to YouTube, I kind of stopped listening to Spotify. Like, I only did sound check shit at work because I didn't want to have to listen to the people. So I, like the episode where we were talking about how much I hate work and I don't give a fuck what they think, I cranked that and just had it sitting on my phone, sitting on my little shelf while working.
Just sat in the corner.
And yeah,
just
because
looking at
I
everybody.
always used to sit at I had like a desk, sort of. It's such a fucking shitty place. Anyway, and I could look down a hallway, and the office dude's door was right there, and that part came on. And he's like, I don't give a fuck with my work, blah, blah, blah. I don't care what they say. They fucking fire me. It's a piece of shit McDonald's job, or replace it with anything, including paper routes. And and he fucking turns and looks, and it's like the dude that signs our checks and does all the paperwork and shit, and he like looked at me, and he's like, and shut the door, you know, so that, you know, the main boss wouldn't hear or whatever. But yeah, it was just, that's the only time but that one skips.
That's one of the ones
Oh, is that
that
one of the
does
ones
the
that does?
jog on it or whatever.
Yeah.
I want to go ride whatever the fuck just went by, dude.
No
I want a
shit.
Harley again so bad. It's weird. Like, so I started my new fucking killer awesome job. Don't have to fucking go out there and pull bolts ever again, which is just fucking fine with me, dude. And
I'm happy for you.
everybody, yeah, dude, it's like a night and day difference for me. Like, I'm and it's not even a conceited thing. I'm as confident as my influence. Meaning, if you're a nobody that nobody gives a fuck about, and you work at some shitty place that doesn't pay you dick, and you can't do nothing with your life, then you start feeling like that's what you are. And I was like, this was supposed to be temporary. I forgot. It turned into a year or whatever. But now that I have, like, all the guys have new cars, and they drive Harleys, or have not, and they're like, I don't fucking worry about shit. And I'm like, I used to do this same job. And, like, they haven't had to train me on literally anything. The only thing they've had to train me on is, like, show me where stuff is. Like, shit's more modern. All the machines that
Something's
used to...
moved from where it was.
Literally every single thing that used to piss me off about that job, which was only, like, 2 or 3 things, have all been modernized. Like, we used to have, like, an old IBM, like, ka-ching, ka-ching printer that would... And it would take, like, 2 minutes to make one tag. Well, you have to put 40 tags on one pallet, So it's like... You stand there for like 20 minutes or you have to go find something. Like, that's the kind of job it was. Like, well, since that's doing its job, you can go, now I can, like, bullshit with the office, get my tags, go do my fucking thing, or, like, scales and equipment. It's all awesome. It's a killer fucking job. And it makes me want to get a fucking Harley again. Like, whoo, I want to get a Harley. Oh, I want to get a bike again. Not any kind of bike.
So you've got one that just needs touched up and shit still, doesn't it?
Yeah, but that's a dirt bike. I want, like, a fucking road bike. Like, I want... Yeah, I want my 78 back. I want that. I want some lane splitters. I want a single solo seat. You fucking, work out, put on the white t-shirt, the fucking Levi's with the leather boots, fucking roll into a parking lot. You just watch the panties just fucking melt off, dude. Especially got a nice bike. I'm not going to even act like, as a single man, that isn't my, like, one of 2 desires I have. I love chasing women. Women are beautiful. They're just so much fun.
The pain in the ass otherwise.
Well, yeah, I don't want to fucking marry him again. It's not like, it's either I'm going to get married like 10 more times, just under that same premise. Like, I'm going to just go get really, really hot, fancy ones that only, like, do the date and then marry thing.
Yeah.
But then I'll just end it right
Find
then.
the self-sufficient ones that only want dick. Or a companion to hang out with for different things.
You tell me where they are, Jimmy, and
I
I'll
wish I
fucking
knew.
go get them for us. That's a unicorn.
Pretty fucking lucky, I guess.
Yeah. You
Especially
you
in our-
guys are like
in
10
our-
years in and you still have sex. That's fucking crazy.
Oh, God, we have a lot of sex.
I don't even know what my ex-wife looked like for like the last year. Like, does she still...
Except for when she was drunk by the pool.
Did she shout? Yeah.
With bikinis on, which is basically just underwear.
No, underwear cover a lot more than some of those girls' bikinis.
Yeah, that was true.
That's one thing I miss.
The pool.
The pool.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I'd
say
like to have a
I
pool
never
again.
got to swim in that pool.
Neither
man.
did I.
I didn't
got
swim.
I was
hang
all
out
excited because that was like the beginning of the summer when I did that first.
Oh yeah, it was shortly after that it all went down.
Yeah, no, because like it was like the next week. You were like, "Hey, we might have to move the podcast." I was like, "What happened?" Oh, Bryce is getting into Florida. I was like, "What the fuck, dude?
As soon as you get a pool, stupid.
Dumbass."
I know. Yeah.
I was there for like 2 of the pool parties, but I didn't swim. I think
Well, fuck,
we
dude.
went over. We were supposed to record one night, and I had everybody out there, and everybody got wasted. And then you were just thrown out of the mood. You're like, well, I got to make the kids dinner, and I was like, I don't mind. Like I'm cool with it. Like,
I'll be fine. I'll be right here.
I was like, I get it. I was like, I just hang out. Whatever's fine. And then it got to be like 9 o'clock, and she'd be like on the couch, and you're like, all right, well, thanks for coming over, Jim. I was like, yeah, well, we'll see you later, Bryce.
Oh, yeah.
That was like the 1 week that we missed in between, other than the 2 that we just missed.
Yeah. That's when we still cared.
We were new.
We were new, excuse me.
We were
Yeah,
trying
new.
to do the whole pick a topic and stick to it.
Right. Yeah, well, now it's like old girlfriend. It's like, hey, you're here. We're here. Let's all just fucking hang out. You could be listening to the sound of wind, but instead you're listening to us.
And we appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's not even appreciation.
We don't really hate our
it's
own
as
show.
If, it's like, yeah, you guys definitely don't hate the show. But, no, it's like, it's like we just can't hear them answering.
Yeah.
You know, it's like waiting a week for people to answer, which is what kind of sucks about not seeing like the page blow up, because I don't really care about like YouTube or like money. It's obviously not going to make money. It's not going to do those things. But like every time somebody be like, dude,
interaction,
and they would tell us about a specific part that they liked, I'm like, oh, that means you actually fucking listened to it, because that was like an hour and a half into the show or an hour into the show, you know. And it's, I don't know, that was cool, because then that's what made it feel like lately it doesn't feel so much like there's an audience. You know, because we just haven't got much response from people, which is fine. I'll sit here and talk to my fucking self. I do it all the time at home without you guys, so I don't really doesn't change
as you
much.
don't answer yourself,
dude.
right?
I do. I am both sides. How? Here's the thing. Here's the thing about mental health, like or mental how your brain works. How much do you guys think you spend time in your head?
Too much.
Really?
A lot.
Really, but like for reals though, like sometimes I'll get to the point where I feel as if I am not physically in my head, but I'm far more in that conversation than the dude right in front of me talking to me.
Oh yeah, no, I get that a lot.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm not insane. That's good.
No.
That's good.
No.
I've thought about
Like
that a lot.
I have the conversation with somebody, and then it's like, what sucks is you always have those thoughts of like what I should have said, what I could have said.
I have those, but here's the other thing. So okay, say one of you guys says something, you know, or does something. It's not like I think that was fucking stupid. Like, why did he interrupt me? It's like, you fucking hate that, don't you? Like, and I'll be like, whoa, that's weird that I thought that way. You get what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
it's actually like, I know it's me. It's obviously not like a schizophrenia, multiple personality type thing. It's just that I'm talking to myself, not through myself.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it'd be like, you fucking hate that, don't you? And I'm like, quit it. Whatever that was. just say you hate that.
What gets me is like today, like I'm changing the oil on my pickup out here in the driveway, and I'm like trying to get the fucking oil filter off. And I'm down there and I'm like, fucking thing keeps slipping. I'm like, you fucking dirty bitch. You fucking dirty bitch. And I'm like I'm like, God damn it, dude. If my neighbor right there is just
listening to you
and I'm
berate
just
your
like,
fucking oil filter.
You fucking dirty bitch. Get on there, you dirty bitch.
Well, and that's
like, I'm like, you big fucking dirty bitch. Like,
especially if you repeat the thing. It's like,
well,
not
that's
like you're
what
like,
it was.
well, it's not like, exactly. It's not
Well,
like
then
you're
I'm
like,
like,
you
don't you-
cock-sucking mother. Oh, you're gonna fucking do it, you son of a... You're just saying, yeah, bitch. Yeah, bitch.
You
And
dirty
like,
bitch. And I'm
and
like,
that's funny, 'cause
I'm
that's
like,
a-
yeah, fucking drip right my fucking eye. God damn you fucking
That's the only
piece
one
of
about
shit.
my dad that would bug me, is he would say the same bad word. And I don't know why it's the repetition. If it's like when you hear an echo and an echo gets louder and then louder and then louder out here, and you're like, oh, okay, that's enough time saying cocksucker in a row. Okay, split it up with the or and or your or something like that. You know, like, fuck, man, that's yeah.
Because then I'll think to myself, I'm like, and
Anybody.
that's when I get in my head, and I'm like, who's hearing me say this? Like, who's,
yeah.
I like, am I fucking? What am I? Okay.
Am I saying it out loud? Or
Well,
am I saying
it's
it in my
almost
head?
like not you, but I know that for a fact, like my dad would say something to instigate somebody else to giving a shit about what he's doing.
Oh yeah.
So say he's fucking working on something, instead of truly putting your mind to the task at hand, you're putting half of it into trying to get the guy to walk over and be like, what you got going on there? Oh, this dirty cocksucker won't go on. And he would do stuff like that. Instead of being like, oh, sorry, man. No, I don't know how to do this. And then a guy being like, oh, this is how you do that. He'd be like, this motherfucker right here. And a guy'd be like, oh, okay, well, bye. You know, and
You're angry,
not
you're not gonna
get the
listen
help
and
that
pay
he
attention
wants.
to me.
And then he'd be pissed that somebody wouldn't help him. And it's like, well, Dad, maybe if you didn't come across like a psychopath and talk about motherfucking lug nuts, you know, like fucking their mother, you know, like, I don't know. It's just weird. And then I think of shit like that, because at my house, especially if I'm alone and I get mad and I stub my toe or I do something stupid, I'll be like, fucking motherfuck, you know, and I'm like, oh, my neighbors heard that. Doors wide open, radio's barely on, you know?
Do you find yourself doing things that your dad did, like just things that like?
I don't even want to talk about that fucking
I'm not talking
subject, but yes.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking like bad stuff. I'm talking just like little things.
No,
that you
bad,
saw.
all the shit. Yeah, all of it. Little stupid, subtle shit.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Because I've caught myself doing, like, when something...
Because I'll do that. I'll instigate to get people. Like, if I'm doing something,
yeah,
like,
no.
what in the fuck? Well, I could have said that at any time, but I did it right when somebody's walking by. Mm-hmm. You know, and most of the time, I don't know what... That's a weird... That right there is a very weird mental thing that a lot of people do. Instead of just being like, hey, man, you know how this works? To somebody else and just fixing it together as a team, you're like, it has to be started that way because you're a man. Mm-hmm. This motherfucker didn't go on, and it's as if you're implying that you absolutely know everything about this thing, but for some reason, this instance of you doing it while this other person is watching you do it, that's just the one time I can't. It's throwing me off. Fuck this motherfucker. How dare it not do exactly the thing I told it to? Like I did it 10 times before. It's like, Dad, you have never fucking done that task in your life. You don't even know what that's called. You don't even know what that part does. I remember I was fucking 8 years old up in Anatone one time. 8 or 9. And my dad's out there working on a truck, trying to fix the brakes on his truck. And all I can hear him do is scream. And I'm like, fucking wrestling's on. I don't care. And he's like screaming mad or whatever. And he just comes in and sits down. I'm like, oh, did you get it finished? You know, and he's like, no, the fucking something spring piece of shit, whatever. And he changes my wrestling to something else. And I'm like, well, we have 2 channels. It's wrestling and Maury Povich. So, you know, or how a kid says it, you know. I'm like, I was watching wrestling, you know. And he's like, oh, I don't want to watch wrestling. And he put like Maury on or something. I'm like, you don't even like this show. Whatever. I'm going to go fix the fucking truck or whatever, you know, as a kid. And I went out there and like 10 minutes later figured it out. Like, brakes worked. Never failed him, you know. And it's like, did he do that just so that I would go fix it at 8? That's weird. It's super weird. I mean, I went out there. There's all the tires, the hub, all the shit's off, and it's just up on the jack in the middle of the woods. I'm like, that's how, if I die, that's how you take me to the hospital. Like, that's how I used to think in the woods when I was a kid. Because, like, anything that you did, you had to think about it. It's like, I'm 30 miles away from the hospital. You know, which is so crazy. Some of the shit I used to do up in the woods where I'm like, this couldn't go any better. Like, this giant scar right here is from riding a skateboard down our shed that led into the angle of the roof of the chicken coop onto a piece of plywood. I've probably told that story on here before or whatever. I could have not landed on my feet and my arm. I could have just landed on my head. And Bryce would be like, I like Cheetos, and like fucking rocking back and forth in a wheelchair right now, not doing a fucking podcast because I was stuck in the woods, you know? That's the only thing that makes me nervous about like getting another place too far out of town is like, I can't, like, as an adult, now that I really know that, like, firemen aren't superheroes. Ambulance people aren't superheroes. Paramedics, they're just regular people that have a skill set. That changes in your head as an adult where you're like, they're going to do everything they can, of course, but they still are just a person. Like, I could sign up
only so much
to go be a paramedic or figure out how to do that or whatever, go to school for whatever you got to do. I could sign up to do these things, and I'm like, so now I'm like, do I want, like, knowing how the country is right now, how absolutely super intelligent we are right now, and we just know everything in the whole world, and we're all woke. We're all fucking enlightened to what the real truth is out there or whatever. I don't really want to ever have to trust them. Like, some people just fucking rely on hospitals. They're like, I do derbies and I fucking cut trees down and fucking life is good. And they'll just put all my parts back on. It's like, well, maybe, but also you might just be all gimpy for the rest of your life and have a weird speech impediment. You know, that's, so, taking my kids all the way to the woods, you know, I want to get a place just on the plains. Just, so it's a flat shot back to town so that when I see all the parachutes start coming down from fucking Russia or probably China this time. Yeah, it'll be China for sure. China. So I see them come down. I can, like, prepare. You know, one road in, one road out. When I start seeing parachutes, and motherfucker, if you don't think, I'm like, Geneva, what? Yeah, just taking them out of the fucking sky, man. But, yeah, I want, like, solitude. Like, I miss that the most about the woods is you don't hear the transformers, you don't hear cars, you don't hear electricity. Like, we don't realize it. That fucking light makes noise. Like, it's a constant noise. Everything makes noise that's electronics, you know? And so it's like...
Stand next to a telephone pole.
Right. It's like... And that's always happened. It was torture when I moved to town from Anatone, dude. It was like literal. I didn't sleep for like a week probably, where it was just like there's always a sound. You know, like I've said that before on the podcast, I'm sure, where it's like if somebody was driving on your road, especially my road in Anatone, it's the end of the fucking line. That's the end of the road. And so it's like if somebody's coming towards your house, somebody's probably dead, hurt, needs help, or knows exactly who you are. So you're like, oh, that's weird. It's after 6 o'clock. Somebody's here.
Mm-hmm.
You
Right.
know? Like I remember one time a guy got lost and my dad was such a cocksucker to him. He's like, this is a one-way road. And the guy's like, yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm trying to find these people. They don't live here. And I'm like, what if that guy was like a millionaire and he was just looking for somebody to give money to? You know, like, well, I was going to just randomly give it to your neighbor, or give it to whoever, but you're an asshole, so I'll go give it to your neighbor. And my dad would, of course, say something like, they're from California. They already got money. Fuck you, too, or something.
I remember we were up huckleberry picking in Anatone one time, and it was me and Patty and Lee, and we just happened to. There was an old fence, and it was down, but we just kind of went over it and just kept huckleberry picking. And this older gentleman comes out of fucking nowhere. Fuck are you doing? Picking huckleberries. You know where you are? And we're like, yeah, Anatone. And he's like, this is my property. Turn your asses around. Blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what in the... I was like 7 at the time, and I'm like...
Is it that big a deal? Were you going to come pick huckleberries, Grandpa,
I was like,
man?
what is wrong with this guy? And I remember Patty and Lee were just like,
here's something I've always wanted to do.
What the hell?
Mushroom picking or berry picking. And I've thought about this a few summers in a row, and I'm like, yeah, you couldn't do it in Waha, but you could definitely do it in Anatone where all the Californians are. I want to find my little patch. Don't give a fuck whose property it's on, right? As long as it's woods and you're not like right next to somebody's house. And I'm going to bring a shovel, and I'm going to bring a gun, and I'm going to bring a tarp, right? And I'm going to wrap the tarp in a circle around something, and like tape it up, right? And I'm going to dig this big old fucking hole, dude. And then I'll just lean the shovel there. I'll have that tarp next to the hole, and like my AR leaned up against the tree next to that. And then I'm going to go about berry picking and mushroom picking and shit. And if somebody comes along, somebody that owns the property, and they're like, hey, what are you? I think I know what you're doing. I think I'm going to leave now. You know what I mean? Like, if you came upon a dude with a tarp, a whole shovel, and an AR, and I just no, you can't leave. And they're just fucking gone, But one of the weirdest ones is when Ollie was really little, I got a really cool Kelty baby Holland pack, but it put him on the front. Mm-hmm. So I was like, I'm not going to go on a hike, obviously. Not like a hike, but I'll go 100 yards into the woods or whatever and walk around. I had my pistol on me. I wasn't super worried about it. And Jake was with me, and he had a pistol or something. I was like, leave it in your fucking pocket. You're dumb, so don't do that. And and we're just walking through the woods, looking at the trees, and we just get away to where you can't hear the road and you can't see the road and that kind of shit. Looking around, just looking around homesteads, and all of a sudden, out of fucking absolutely nowhere, this side-by-side comes out of the woods and is like, boom! He's like, this is private property. And I'm like, this is 4,000 acres of fucking BLM land. What are you talking about? This is national forest land out here. He's like, no, this is my property. I'm like, looked. I'm like, you're from California, aren't you? He's like, God damn it, right? He was proud to be the asshole ruining it for everybody else that's not from here type of thing. But it blew me away. I almost was like, whoa. He just came out of fucking nowhere, Yeah. And it's like, God, is that all people do is stand on their property and tell other people it's theirs and then do nothing with it,
Pretty much.
California, for sure, they're scared to go out in the fucking woods, dude.
Yeah.
There was a kid that moved to Anatone for 1 year. And I can tell you exactly why. It's like most people move to Anatone for 1 year. It's beautiful all summer. Get away from the heat of the valley. Oh, it's gorgeous, and there's animals. And then 4 snowflakes hit the ground, and they're like, fuck it, we gotta move. And then they post their house for sale. Mm-hmm. And I was like, hey, let's go on a horse ride. He's like, I don't know how to ride horses. So I'm like, fine, just jump on the back of mine. I was like, we had the big saddle. It was almost like a motorcycle one where it was up, and then there was one more little up, so you could have somebody comfy on the back. He's like, oh, man, I don't know, man. There's wild animals out there. I'm like, yeah? Rarely.
Just gotta be smart about.
There's squirrels and rabbits and snakes and shit, but that's kind of it. Besides deer and the occasional bear or what, and you can just see his little fucking wiener eyeballs, you know. And
a
it's like,
rabbit.
why do they move to the woods to stare at the trees out their window? It's like you can watch Netflix anywhere, and you could print pictures and just tape them to the outside of your window facing in and be like, I live in the woods.
I live in the woods.
You know, and then go out of your condo and go fucking back to California.
Yep. We took a little just run when Sarah got her car from the shop. We drove upriver a little ways, and I realized that somebody bought Mulberry Beach. It's been purchased.
Well,
It is private property now.
Yeah, but that dude's pretty cool. He's
Is
actually
he?
cool. Yeah.
Because it's
not
all
all
like posted. Did you shit your pants?
No, it was my shoes.
Oh, okay.
Really?
Yeah, it's all posted.
Is that the
up.
one with the slough and the rope swing and everything?
No, the first beach, where like that certain family that we all know, they do derbies and stuff. They lived there for a short time in their motorhome. The first beach. We used to camp there.
Yeah. Okay, I just get that.
Completely clear cut, and it's posted.
There's no trees or nothing.
Like here and there, but it's been posted the whole thing. No
Who would-
trespassing.
Who
private
would want
property.
to be that person?
I
Like
don't know.
how I can't even imagine being that person. If I bought a spot on the river, and this is now on record, it'll be on YouTube, it'll be on Spotify for the foreseeable future, or not at all if we get fucking pulled or whatever. But like, if I owned one of those properties, it would be purposefully to my whole life watch young people enjoying themselves. Now, it doesn't mean I'm not going to come down there and tell you, like, pick up your fucking beer cans, pick up your beer bottles, clean up after yourself, don't shit on my trees, you know, that kind of thing.
Shit on my trees.
Don't shit all over the place. Just pick out a tree and shit on it.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
One tree.
But I would know that I was
I'll
purchasing...
put a fucking outhouse out there, okay?
I mean, other than that people are Sue happy, I would want people to know that they could show up there and enjoy camping and enjoy the river, and as long as they treated it the way that I treated it, you're fucking welcome. You're not going to bother me. If my house is up on the fucking hill and I can see the beach or whatever, but they're not... I mean, even if he heard music at night, you know, and should I be like, this is free for him. That's what America used to fucking be, is that kind of freedom. I never would have thought as a kid which beach I picked when I went upriver, and now it's like, this one's posted, and this one you have to get to from the river. I'm like, oh, so if I only have $100,000 jet boat, I can go to that beach freely, but I can't walk down to it, which I looked that up, and you motherfuckers are pressing a line because I technically have a right to the high water line from either side. So it's not how I get there doesn't designate the high water line. The high water line is designated by high water. So with that being said, you can't keep me from foot traffic.
Well, I've also heard something that you can't buy that you're not supposed to be able to purchase and post.
Nobody owns anything from the high water line to the river.
Yeah, see, that's
Nobody
what's
does.
weird. That's like that everybody, well, my dad and like my aunt and uncles and stuff talk about Party Beach. Way up, there's that house that has like that big giant fence all the way down it, about 15 miles up.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That used to be Party Beach. And that whole fucking thing was posted off in like the early 80s. And nobody could go on that beach anymore.
Huh.
Because some guy came down and just bought the entire fucking stretch of beach.
Yeah, that's...
And the land above it, and then built a big
And
fence.
here's the thing that most people don't talk about,
I just don't
and it's
get that.
unfortunate. I'm not going to pick a big family's name in this town, but say you're somebody that owns one of the biggest businesses in town. Like, you're talking something that not donates, but out of the kindness of their hearts pays millions of dollars in taxes a year.
Yeah.
If you tried going on their beach, some cop's going to show up and lie straight to your motherfucking face about whatever law says that you can and can't be there. And if a guy like me is like, hey, I understand high water mark laws. I specifically do so that I can enjoy as much of the river as I want to. You know, they're going to wrap you up on something. They're going to figure out a way to get you off the beach and make an example of you. And that's the cocksuckerly thing about smaller towns, or the way that cops facilitate things for people that are bigger families, you know what I mean? That's why, like, judges get away with fingering people in the butt and sexually harassing them, and they just continually get to fucking, you know, like the judge that got in trouble. Actually, it's not illegal to talk about public record. So Judge Galena out there that got in trouble for fucking sexually harassing tons of women and doing terrible fucking things or whatever, he's still on the county fucking dime He's on paid administrative leave. That's vacation to the tune of
it's been-
$120,000 fucking dollars a year or
over a
something like
year,
that.
isn't it? It's
Yeah,
been-
he's there's the other thing. Not only they just kept looking for a new venue. If I had done half the things that motherfucker had, I would be in jail for my sentence the next Monday. Like if I finger fuck somebody on Friday, Monday I'm in prison.
Oh, yeah.
Monday morning I'm in court. Monday afternoon I'm off to wherever I'm going.
Yep.
But this motherfucker gets to make 120. You want to know an excuse that I've heard is? Well, they have so much to lose. Well, what, the rest of us don't? If I lost my livelihood, a bunch of not good shit would happen. If I go to prison, like the only thing I care about in the world goes away. You know, so fuck them and fuck their fucking policy on that, you know.
Right.
But otherwise, you know, everything's good. Life's good. Life's good. Welcome to our podcast about comedy.
Let's be happy.
Yay. Hooray.
Hey, we got to get rants out there somewhere, somehow.
Yeah, sometimes it's,
Well,
well,
it pissed
and
me
that's
off, too,
this
when we
platform
went
is
out.
nice because I wish okay, say you don't agree with what I'm saying. Say you're like, fucking judges deserve so much money after they finger fuck people. God, I love saying that word. Say it.
Finger fuck?
Yeah, say
Finger
it.
fucking.
Yeah,
Finger
dude, it's
fuck.
finger fucking.
Anal bang.
I listened to a podcast. And the guy was like, there was a comedy guy's like, you can't finger fuck an old a middle-aged lady anymore.
No.
What are you doing? What are you? God, we just got done eating at Tony Roma's. And you had the ribs and you didn't wash your fucking fingers. Now I'm gonna have. Might as well just fucking put a carrot stick up my fucking cooch and pull the ranch and the barbecue sauce out now. just fucking went off.
But yeah, like we just you know, if you oppose, like if any of our fans don't like the stuff we say, let us know. I mean, I don't have Facebook anymore, so it'll all be on these guys' shoulders and they'll let me know. But like, do you like seeing rich people buy beaches that used to be public property that are still technically public property? Do you like the fact that maybe laws could make it, like laws that don't exist, but handshakes under tables between rich people, you know, could make it so you can't enjoy something? Do you like the fact that property that cost my, you know, family like $17,000 for 5 acres is now a $300,000 property for absolutely no fucking reason because California is willing to pay for it? You know, if you disagree with that, let me know why. I'd sure like it. And capitalism is not the answer, because if you have a problem with immigration, then you should have a problem with regional immigration. So we can argue about all those things.
Right.
Because regional immigration from California to, say, a much more impoverished place is far more damaging to the economy than any Mexican trying to get a fucking hand up for his family. You know what I mean? They're going and doing the shit jobs. They're going and doing, you know.
Speaking of that, the property values in where we live.
Oh, it's through the fucking roof.
Well, I was actually talking to a guy who, I'm not going to say any names, but I was talking to a guy whose wife is a realtor in town. And she was talking about there's been a huge influx of realtors from California that are here and that
Yeah.
have
Well,
started
I
working.
fucking lost my... Go ahead. Sorry.
And they are like pretty much giving the heads up to other people in California,
They're coming up
Oregon. They're coming up here. That's why these prices are jacking up so
Well, and
fucking
it's
high.
unreal, like-
Nobody that's from here can afford to buy a fucking house right now.
You know, here's what would be beautiful.
I'm not
Here's-
saying everybody in California is rich, but
No,
there are
but
a lot of
the
very
median
wealthy
income
families.
that buys a fucking... If you can buy a 2-bedroom house in, say, an expensive part of California, you can buy anything here.
oh yeah.
I mean, I saw a listing for $5.4 million for a 4-bedroom house down there that is like, your house is so much fucking nicer than that house. Like, and you have a nice house, but it was like my first house, my yellow house.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was an old piece of shit with no foundation. You know what I mean? Like, it was a piece of shit. It just sold for $180,000. You know?
What'd you buy it for?
72
I was gonna say,
without a
it was all-
shop,
yeah.
you know? And anyway, it's just, it's unfortunate. Like,
Well, I'm worried about property taxes and
well,
shit like that.
that doesn't change. It's just a percentage of it. And since you're in
That's
at whatever rate you've bought your home, unless they
It's-
add levies
yeah.
to property tax, then
Yeah.
it's not going to raise.
Well, our neighbors.
Here's the cool thing, though.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the cool thing. So say we have this beautiful town and this beautiful fucking industry where we cut trees down and make boards and we fucking make bullets to kill people and animals and shit, you know? And then all these California libtards moved to fucking town. And they're not like, James, I love you, even though you're from California. You're not a California libtard. You carry guns just like the rest of us, and I love you. But, like, they're the ones that are, like, voting in your state to get rid of these kind of things. Like, stop cutting trees down, stop making bullets. So then the bullet factory goes away. They just move everything over to Minnesota or whatever. And then the woods, like, fuck it, we'll just be in Idaho or whatever. And all this property that they had to fucking have is going to turn into nothing. Right? They're going to be like, oh, there's a fucking housing crisis, and all of us that have regular fucking jobs and regular fucking lives are just, I'll be salivating. I'll be like, I can't wait to buy your house for a quarter of the value you bought it for. I can't fucking wait to put you in the poorhouse because you came and did it to me for the last 15 years or whatever, you know?
That's true. I never thought about it
Yeah.
way.
I mean, we're lifers, so we're going to be here. Yeah. Nobody's chasing me the fuck out of this town, even if I have to live in a fucking camper. Just on principle. I could be like, fuck you, I don't care if I pay $7,000 a month for a camper spot. I'm going to live here, you know, and eventually it'll crash, just like it does everywhere, and they'll go away. Yeah. There'll be nobody to complain to because there'll be nowhere to fucking buy anything. Like, everybody whose kids work at the McDonald's will live in another town. No McDonald's. You know, everybody that fucking sells you your cigarettes, you got cigarettes outlawed. You can't have it. Yeah. Chew? Fucking forget about it. You know? And it's just, I mean,
Mountain Dew?
No, Mountain Dew. You're fucked, kid. You just have to start making it. You
just got like bootleg Mountain Dew.
Fuck yeah.
And the toilet and shit.
Mountain Screw.
Mountain Screw.
This is fucking 180 proof Mountain Screw. But yeah, and then I'll just...
Should have get you screwed up faster than a Sidewinder, boy. Hoo-ha!
And all it takes is the first person to go... Like, the problem is somebody will list something, and then they'll get 10 offers for market value. None will be, and then one person will be like, well, I'll give you another 15. Right? That's what jacks up some of these prices sometimes, is the highest bidder scenario, so that then the next time that realtor sells a house exactly the same, well, now that's a $315,000 house, not a $300,000 house, or whatever the situation is that causes that. All it takes, folks, is just like what happened to tulips in Amsterdam or whatever. Somebody has to go, that's not worth that anymore. I'll give you $275. And then somebody else is like, well, fuck, he undercut him $25,000. I'll give you $215 on the next place, just like it. And pretty soon, it'll even right the fuck back out. And inflation is not, like, some people are like, well, that's just what money is nowadays. It's like, no, because like 5 years ago, it wasn't like that here. 10 years ago, it wasn't like that.
It's just
is willing
people
to pay.
Started believing that's what.
Right? Yeah, it's all hysteria. It's like it's a really weird form of hysteria where it's like, yeah, dude, it is worth that. It's like, do you guys realize what you're doing to the economy of your town? Like, people still make $7.92 an hour in this town. Actually, just right down the loop, up the hill, and across the road behind the old car dealership there, everybody still makes like $7.92. And you know, eventually, nobody's gonna be washing your clothes. Eventually, nobody's gonna sell you cigarettes.
True.
You can go fuck California yourselves all fucking day. Anyway, that seems like an episode.
I'd say we pretty well hit every...
Jim about ready to fall asleep over there.
Knock, knock.
Who's there?
Interrupting cow.
Interrupting cow who?
I forgot to tell you, I had a speech impediment.
Oh, okay.
What the fuck?
Anyway, we were doing jokes.
What's a deaf gynecologist do?
Huh?
What's a deaf gynecologist do?
What?
He reads lips.
I like that. I feel like I could make it so we can't do the podcast anymore with one joke.
I've got a handful of those too, don't worry.
How about the one I told you in the car? The one that took me like 5 minutes.
Well, like I said, that's right up there with like the old Michael Jackson jokes when he was doing his thing.
Yeah. Michael Jackson jokes, dude. Those are the ones I forgot about when we were kids.
Why is Michael Jackson so excited to hear about Kmart's big sale?
Go ahead. Why?
Because he heard little boys' pants were half off.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, with that, folks, I'm tired. And I love you. Yeah. And that was an okay episode. I kind of fucked up the end there, getting all randy ravey, but That's what I
That
do
fucking
sometimes.
that like almost pass out laugh episode I just had a few minutes ago.
Oh
made
yeah,
me
that was
really
awesome.
Tired.
I bet.
I think I might have had a stroke.
You gonna go have a sandwich and work it out,
Just go to sleep.
or did you have thoughts of buying for? You had, so it like gave you a little aneurysm, right? So
Yeah.
now you're starting to have thoughts of like buying overly expensive property, and telling people to go away and never step on your yard, and being super dumb and trying to affect a region for no reason.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what an aneurysm is like. That's what mental retardation is like. Is to have those thoughts.
Fucking dirty bitch.
Dirty bitch. All right, folks. Well, we love you. Next week, if you don't give us some ideas, I'm going to just say racial slurs the entire episode. So I'd suggest giving us some ideas because I'm out. I'm out of ideas. I don't know what else to talk about. And if it's like a handful of what's the difference shit, I'm going to call racial slurs at you, regardless of color, shape, size, or form. So, yeah. Personally, I will message you on like Messenger or something, just starting out with terrible words about you and everybody you like. So, anyway, love ya. Talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.